Previously on Power Rangers.
Ay, 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 ay.
Alpha, what is it?
Rita and her putties are attacking Angel Grove and the Rangers are nowhere to be found.
Try running a scan for their color signatures.
Good thinking, Zordon. I just need to calibrate this gizmo and... There! They're on the other side of the galaxy, far into the future, in approximately the 40,000th millennium. I see a color trace for red, blue, black, yellow, and green, but I can't seem to locate Kimberly.
Teleport the 5 now to deal with Rita and her goons, then resume the search for the Pink Ranger.
Right. Teleporting now.
Angel Grove will be mine. Huh? Uh-oh.
Alpha, have you been giving the Rangers human growth hormone? And is that a chainsaw? Heresy! What manner of witchery has befallen us? Battle brothers, we find ourselves on unknown soil amidst both heretics and mutants. Let us cleanse this blight and find a way to rejoin the battle we have been so unceremoniously torn from. For the honor of our chapters, for the Imperium, for the Emperor! Alpha, where are you going?
Oh yeah, you just watched the same butchery I did. We're retired now. I told your dumbass to get some Navy SEALs, and Rita would have been dealt with in a week. But no, your creepy ass had me recruit a bunch of teenagers with attitudes, so you can watch them at night on the viewing globe.
As a forewarning, I have only painted one Space Marine prior to this project, and I make some uneducated choices on both some of the colors used, such as on the helmets, as well as equipment some of them have. Painting these 5 were a learning lesson, and I do not intend on playing with these miniatures in an actual game, so no harm done in the end. I started by priming them in solid black before fully coating them with Molotow's liquid chrome using an airbrush. I've been enjoying the chrome look recently, and with Christmas on the horizon, I had the idea of painting these 5 up like they were the chrome Christmas tree balls that my father used to use on his tree. Over top of this chrome, I applied an anti-zenithal spray of violet ink for general shadows for the armor. Once that dried, I applied many light coats of Tamiya paints. I had thinned these paints near 1:1 using Tamiya's thinner, using just a little more paint than thinner, and then mixing them thoroughly before adding them to the airbrush. I also recommend using separate pipettes for the thinner and for each paint. Also note that these paints are very tacky, so I made sure to clean my airbrush roughly after every 3rd batch or so, just to ensure I didn't have any clogging issues. It's important to apply these lightly and allowing time for each coat to dry before applying the next. This way you slowly build up a saturated and smooth coat to preserve the reflectiveness of the chrome beneath. I then finish up the airbrushing by mixing Tamiya clear with thinner, again roughly 1:1, and applied several passes to each miniature to varnish them. The Tamiya clear will continue to preserve that reflectiveness. Here's a quick look at the shiny armor. In each case, a violet looks great as a shadow cover, however I did get a little too heavy-handed with the red on the Blood Angel and lost a lot of those purple shadows. And it points out how important it can be to go slow with these Tamiya paints. They don't look like they cover at all, until they do. I then head inside and with a brush I black out all the appropriate areas, and already they're looking pretty good. Adding in just this second color made a world of difference. I then added 2 highlights to each of these black areas. Any other basic non-metallic acrylic colors I use in this project, such as the brown leather for the Ultramarine, followed this same base coat, with 2 highlights, albeit with different colors. I won't be showing all of those individual steps to keep the runtime of this video short. However, as always, all of the colors I use will be provided in a spreadsheet excerpt shown near the end of the video. On to what ended up being the most time-consuming step in the project was the base coating of all the metallic areas using Vallejo's aluminium. In retrospect, I wish I used dark aluminium instead, as this color is very close to white. For now, I didn't care if it was supposed to be silver, gold, or some other metallic shade. If it was going to be metallic, I base coated it first with this aluminium. Once all the metallic base coats was down, I then came back with some of Army Painter's speed paints, unthinned, to tint them whatever color I wanted. I love using Army Painter speed paints over metallic silver to the point that I rarely use any other metallic color other than silver. I really like using ochre clay for a nice vibrant gold, and dusk red for a deep copper specifically. I applied decals next, which for me is a personal pain point as I haven't done this very often and I am absolutely terrible at it. I especially had trouble when adding a decal on top of yet another decal. Somehow, in the end, I was still able to muddle my way through this. With the majority of everything completed, I restore some of the faded violet shadows to the Blood Angel's armor, as well as add violet shadows to everything that was base coated by brush, such as the leather bits and metallics, before mixing some of Mr. Hobby's multi-black and solvent to add as a pen wash. Nearing the finish line, I drop white ink into the few areas that I want glowing, such as the eyes. I'll have two colors for glowing areas on these 5 Marines, red and green. For the red areas, after the white ink is fully dried, I drop in some red ink, and for the green areas, well, you guessed it, I drop in some green ink. With those inks fully dried, I paint in what will be the strongest glowing areas with white before applying a red or green fluorescent paint as needed. The Liquitex version of fluorescent paints, at least their gauche variant, is so transparent that it only needs the smallest amount of water for thinning. I also stipple in a little bit of fluorescent red dots onto the Auspex screen carried by the Ultramarine, just for some additional effect. I finish things up by priming the base blue to prevent any of the Tamiya colors from bleeding into the snow texture I intend on applying, as these are meant to mirror Christmas ornaments and snow bases are about as Christmassy as it gets. I then black out the base rim before adding some of AK Interactive's snow texture, and while it's still wet, I sprinkle on some of AK Interactive's micro balloons to have a mix of partially melted slush and some fresh fallen powdery snow before I can finally call it a night. This is where I stopped. I'll say that after painting what is now my 2nd to 6th Space Marine from the Warhammer 40k world, I can see why a lot of people would want to paint these in sub-assembly. Reaching some of the areas on the backpacks and the rubber seals under the arms can be a nightmare, especially with the seals on the neck. Otherwise, considering that the bulk of the armor was done with a primer, chrome, purple shadows, a base color, and a pen wash, I don't feel like I have that much room to complain. To me, they look great for the minimal effort, and honestly, I don't really know which one I like the most. The Ultramarine, Imperial Fist, and the Iron Hand are all contenders. For lessons learned, I don't have a lot of complaints other than my own failings from lack of game lore. The Salamander and Blood Angel I dislike the most. That's mainly due to my inability to paint fire worth a damn, and that I killed the purple shadows on the Blood Angel during the airbrushing stage. The most tedious elements of this project was blacking in all of the parts such as the joints and weapons, and applying the metallic paints by brush. Those by far took the longest out of any individual steps. Finally, my last word of caution is, if you were to try to emulate this chrome armor following these steps, I definitely recommend applying matte varnish anywhere you intend to paint non-chrome colors, before you apply any initial base coats. The acrylic paints do not stick very well to this clear-coated chrome finish, and it can flake off easily. Since I won't be playing with these miniatures, that won't be a problem. But one day I may do an Emperor's Children army with this kind of scheme, and if I do, I'll definitely be matte varnishing the non-chrome areas by brush to better improve the paint job's durability. And that'll bring this video to its end. I hope you learned something or inspired to start or expand your own force of heretic slaying, Xenos obliterating, mutant genocide bringing unit of genetically enhanced super soldiers in power armor from the 40,000th millennium, who in the context of the intro to this video, might be able to summon the legendary Mighty Morphin Dinozords. Jesus Christ, can you imagine the Megazord running rampant on the battlefield in 40k? If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, you can easily support the channel by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Until the next video.